You're now watching Sports Bettor's Paradise on the BetRivers Network.
All right, Jimmy Ott along with Randy McKay for this week in the NFL. It is week 15, but it is, what is it? I'm sorry, week 16, games 15, right, Randy? You got that right? So, anyway, we got 3 games left, 3 weeks left in the regular season for the NFL. In this holiday season, they'll kind of staggered across Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday action this week in the NFL. First of all, big Randy, man, a lot of people very thankful for these videos for you. You've helped them profit this year. So from all of our supporters, our listeners, and the people that have just given me told me, said, make sure you tell Big Dog we appreciate you. So during this holiday season, we do appreciate not just the straight picks, but the angles and the research and the information that you put out. So to you and yours, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Randy.
Well, thank you for that. And thanks to the viewers out there. Without them, we probably can't have a show. So this is always fun to do that. And just looking forward to another good profitable week coming up, and you just kind of got to set your schedule, get ready. You know, it's getting to be where it's playoff football, so get ready for the good times and hopefully no more bad times like the Tennessee game.
Oh, the Tennessee game. It was that was brutal. How did that team come back? But a team that was dominating early, that just kept a team hanging around, didn't put the foot, didn't go for the jugular, and it came back to haunt us on Sunday. I've spent some time with Big Randy McKay down in New Orleans for the Final Four one year. Saints 2 in a row, but against who? Now they travel on Thursday night to take on the Rams. This is all of a sudden a very important game in the pecking order for the NFC playoff seeding. Rams 4-45 at home on this Thursday night game against the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going to try another under here on a Thursday game. Of course, had under last week on the Raiders-Chargers game, and it looked like a good bet, and then they kicked off, and
and then they kicked off.
That's one of those. It looks like a good bet till it kicks off, and then you're just like, maybe I was a little wrong on that one, and everything spiraled the wrong way, and no more Brandon Staley, but that's the end of him.
Yeah.
Going to come back to this total here. Been bet up to the key number of 45, open 42.5. But I like these two teams run offenses. Ever since the Rams got back this Williams, they like to run the ball with him, control the clock, keep the other team off the field. We saw that last week with them. Pretty easy victory there against the Washington team. And then, of course, you had Ron Rivera. We're going to talk a little bit about coaches, too, today. Ron Rivera, not smart enough to go for 2 when you get that first touchdown. Decides to kick the extra point,
missed it, yeah.
Yeah, which was huge for us. We had a big in-game position. You can take advantage of in-game. We had -7.5 plus 200 there. And the cheese man with a bad snap and prevailed us to victory. But I had to bring that up because it was pretty funny. But the Rams like to run the ball. Now they got Williams going, short passing. Their line doesn't protect that well against the pass. They're better run blockers than pass blockers, this Rams team. So they control the ball that way with the short passes to Nakua, Cooper Kupp. Tough to defend those two, cover them both. The Saints will probably have trouble with that, but the short passing game, control the clock. On the other side, Kamara running the ball pretty well. Kind of an ugly game against the Giants. They still got it done. DeVito and that Giants offense isn't really a threat to really do anything down there in the Dome. It could have been a closer game than what it was, but the Saints controlled the ball. Made that game pretty much an under. I think they'll control the ball with Kamara as well. And then we've seen the red zone troubles for the Saints, which should help us in this total. So under 45 here, New Orleans and the Rams.
Well, I'll tell you this: a couple of things from notes from that Saints victory over the Giants. First of all, they were definitely had a little extra boost by all the publicity with the the DeVito circus act. I mean, the Linsanity, the sequel. Okay, out of the number one media market in the country. Yes, New York overrates things all the time, especially in sports. The other thing is that Carr may have had his best game. He threw 3 TDs, no interceptions. He made several throws on third down, conversion downs, and he put some balls in some tight windows. So a guy that's been booed heavily by his fan base, a guy that has gotten into it visibly with multiple players that we see, reportedly many more within the locker room, behind the scenes, but. Is that sustainable? Or is it an outlier? So we'll see about that. Tough trip, tough turnaround for the Saints on Thursday night going out to the West Coast. Get extra value this football season with BetRivers Squares. We're coming down the stretch on our football season. So last little stretch to take advantage of this great opportunity. You can win up to $10,000 in bonus money. Bet $10 in same-game parlays on any game with the Squares icon to earn a square. Brought to you by our friends over at BetRivers. Tampa Bay and Jacksonville. Jacksonville did about as much as you could do wrong in the first half, and then at the end of the game as well. With 5 possessions ending up in Jacksonville territory, yielding 0 points. Tampa Bay, they take care. Boy, they went up and down the field. Baker Mayfield was 22-1 to have the most passing yards in the week. That cashed last week. Tampa Bay on the road here, 1 over Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm going to get ahead of a move here in this game.
I'm sorry, Tampa Bay at home, Randy. I'm sorry. Tampa Bay at home against Jacksonville.
At home. I'm going to get ahead of a move here. Tampa Bay, Trevor Lawrence in concussion protocol. And we've seen probably about 80% quarterbacks don't play in this situation when they're in that concussion protocol the next week. And then you get Beathard in there. Not a big fan of Beathard against this experienced Tampa Bay defense. They can be had a little bit in the air, but on the ground, very stout with Vea in the middle, them 2 good linebackers with of course, your guy from LSU, and then David, very good linebackers in the middle. They're still very good, but they can be had a little bit in the passing game. Like what I seen, Baker Mayfield, first ever perfect quarterback rating in Lambeau Field. This offense seems like it's getting going. Still a little shaky on the offensive line, young offensive line. Seen develop pretty well. Of course, big fan of the North Dakota State kid that plays guard, Cody Mock. Big red-haired kid, if you want to watch him. Big fan of his. So he's been doing pretty good. Give him a little shout out. And this Tampa Bay offense has been getting going. They lead, they're division leader coming in here in this NFC South. Could still go anyway. The Saints, big game for them, as we just talked about. Both teams in there probably for the hunt. And, of course, the other 2 teams probably out of there, especially Atlanta after their debacle. But like what I see out of this Tampa Bay team, getting ahead of the move here against the Jaguars, who have injuries here with Lawrence and other wide receivers. Also, their defense not looking too well these last few weeks. Jackson and company probably should have had more points or less than points on the board there. So looking to take the Buccaneers, get ahead of this move, because when they announce Beathard in there, this line will go to 3. So -1 here, Tampa Bay.
All right, at the time that we're broadcasting right now, Tampa Bay -1 at home against Jacksonville. All right, we're going to look to a long teaser here, teasing over those hot numbers of 3 and 7. First half of the teaser is Cincinnati, 2.5 at Pittsburgh. We're going to tease the Steelers from 2.5 up to +8.5.
Yeah, you get a Steeler team here, gonna change quarterbacks to the Rudolph, man. Get Trubisky out there. Rudolph, a little better passer, probably a little bit more accurate than Trubisky, but that isn't very hard to do. So gonna take that up to +8.5. on the other side here, see multiple injuries here with the Cincinnati team. Their best defensive player in the middle, Reader, went out early against the Vikings. Looked like a bad situation here for this Bengals team. They came back somehow in that game, got the victory against the Vikings. Very impressive. But coming back against the Vikings also, you saw Chase get hurt there as well, and that hurt them, and he might not play as well on offense. So you get a banged up Cincinnati team here with two of their better players, and they've been injured up the way it has been. Browning's looked pretty good for a new quarterback coming in there. A lot of teams passed on him. He's been impressive since he's got in there, ran that Cincinnati offense. Here's another coach I'm going to talk a little bit about too, making mistakes. Here's Zach Taylor. He's always been kind of a middle road coach for me. Their team first driving down the field, no problem, this and that. 3rd and 2, decides to do a tight end reverse pass. I mean, you don't need to run a gadget play when you're gouging the other team there. Get too tricky, makes no sense to me. And then, of course, they had to settle for the field goal. That was the only score they got that first half. So, sometimes these coach overthink it. Sometimes he does that. Of course, I'm a big fan of Lou Anarumo on the other side, the defensive coordinator. He adjusts even though he doesn't have his players, and the defense is hurting there. But, with this low total, getting plus 8.5 on this game should be a good one for the first leg of the teaser. So here we got the Steelers plus 8.5.
Game flow, got to be a part of it. He did that on a Monday night win against Jacksonville. Browning was having a great game, and he's throwing, wide receiver passes, into across the field that Jacksonville cashed in for an easy touchdown. So no doubt about that. I mean, Taylor is never middle of the road. I think you're being kind on that one. Cleveland, Cleveland is going to Houston. We think Stroud will be back. Usually, you get knocked out for concussion protocol, you miss a week, but you're back for the second game. So we think Stroud will be back, but Houston still has a lot of injuries out there. That was kind of they pulled one out of the hat in Nashville on Sunday. But Cleveland going in here in Flacco, he dug themselves a hole, and he got himself out of it against a really good Bears team who's tackling really well right now. Cleveland teasing it up to plus 2.5 to plus 8.5 to close out this Pittsburgh-Cleveland teaser.
Yeah, and I like the way this Cleveland team is going here. Came back, gutted out that win against the Bears. Still can run the ball. Of course, they've had offensive line injuries, but they can run the ball for us, control the clock, which will help on offense. Their defense still very strong. Stroud, this will be the best defense he's seen. Of course, he's got him on the Houston carpet there, which will help the Houston team. But he got this Houston team too. Played in overtime. Extra plays here against that Tennessee team too coming in here. So that favors Cleveland as well. Both these teams coming down the stretch run. You look at the injury list on both these teams, it's just long. That's the way the NFL season can be, but you got to grind out, and getting plus 8.5 over these key numbers looks like a strong bet here with the Browns, with a Flacco that's getting used to this offense more and more every week. So he can hang in there for us. This should be a close game either way, but plus 8.5 looks real strong.
And I know that was two teams that I like to back, Cleveland and Chicago. And it was a very interesting game. But Cleveland basically, one was a pick six and one was an interception return to 1st and goal. So it's basically 14 points against a good defense, and they still can't. That's how much better Cleveland was to overcome that. So Flacco getting it done, and every week he should get a little bit better. So Cleveland, Pittsburgh, both of those teams plus 8.5. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Randy McKay. We appreciate everything that you do for us. Good point that you made also, and that is without our viewers, we cannot continue to do this. So we appreciate you guys during this holiday season, and tell a friend to spread the word here in the Sports Bettor's Paradise. For Randy McKay, I'm Jimmy Ott for the Sports Bettor's Paradise on the BetRivers Network.